nice swim bait bass. Skipping into, it's actually a combination of flooded brush and riprap. A lot of good stuff going on here. So. All right, here's the swim bait I'm using. I'm rigging it sort of flat side. Normally you'd rig it upright like this, but rigging it flat like that just means that it's more likely to, or less likely to snag. So with that hook on that flat part of this the swim bait hook, it comes through the tree trunks and branches real well. It's got a real thin tail, a lot of action there. Even if I let it fall off of the off of the branch and down into deeper water, that thing's constantly moving, even if I let it sit still. I got 14-pound test fluorocarbon there, and that's going to, I think that's 15-pound braid. The rod and reel I'm using, it's an Okumo Helios. This is a Legend Tournament power spin. So this is a fairly heavy, it's a medium heavy power, fast action. It's actually St. Croix's strongest, the spinning rod in their Legend Tournament series. So that's able to winch that big fish out of the heavy cover there. So, and why I'm not using a bait caster, basically I can skip with these spinning rods a lot better than I can with a bait caster. Swim baits on wood. Don't you come off. Oh, don't you come off. Skipping. Yes. All right. For sure. That's a personal best on this reservoir. How cool. Nice one. Larger style or larger profile swim baits skipped up underneath the overhanging brush that's behind me. Let it hit the wood. It really, the wood contact really makes that happen. I think if they come out clean, they don't want it. So I'm gonna get a quick picture of this one and get her back. All right, took some quick photos of this 21-inch largemouth. I like that big swim bait. We'll go ahead and get her back in there. Goes. Let's take a look at where that 21-incher came from. You got some ledge rocks right above it sticking out into some deeper water. We're in 6.3 here. It came up to like 2.5. Underneath there, I don't know, I'll have to move in there to see how deep it is. But if you look in there, what's unique is that there are big pieces of wood out into deeper water. Yeah, I'm in looks like 7.5 feet right here, and that fish had it, the access to deep water, but he liked being up on this fairly large piece of wood that came a good distance out from the shore. Real nice piece of habitat. Going back in for a second look at where you've caught a nice fish is always, I mean, it's really the cornerstone of pattern development. One tactic I didn't cover in the first skipping video is as soon as you bring it out, whether you bring it out of the brush fast or slow, and you think you're to the edge, I'm gonna bring it right up to the edge. You want to let it drop. So it's coming across and maybe hitting branches, and if it's hitting branches, that's a very good thing. That contact with wood. But as soon as it comes free of it and it's got some open water in front of it, you want it to drop off right there. For whatever reason, that change in direction really gets them to eat. And also stops it short of being out into a lot of unproductive water. The most productive water is as close to the wood as you can get. Now, for whatever reason today, I'm catching bigger fish with this tactic, but the one thing I'm doing different than I did when I first shot the first video is that I'm using a lot of let it sit, a lot of dead sticking. It still goes in noisy and comes out back out noisy, skip, and then skip. You skip it and then you rip it out, but then that just calls them over. That just tells them, hey, there's something going on here. Check it out. Those bigger fish, you know, they're big and fat and lazy, I guess. They don't want to chase much. But if you let it sit there and let that tail just kind of sit down there and wiggle, they're going to eat it. And that's certainly been the case today. The first one, I didn't film it, but I got one that was 20 3/4. I actually had a wind knot here that I was working out. I had cast it, and you know, when I get back to it and I pulled the wind knot out, I came back down to my line and I'm like, it wasn't there, it was there. And I set the hook and that fish was on. So that's a case of the fish kind of talking to you, letting you know how they want it, at least the bigger ones. And that's when I slowed down. You know, I still kept hitting these same woody areas, but I gave it to them nice and slow, which is how they've been eating it.